So a brief history of the Republicans and the Democrats coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, thank y'all for joining me today. So it's no secret that black people overwhelmingly support the Democratic Party, no doubt about it. And it's like 90+%. And when Barack Obama ran his two terms, it was like 95+%. And why is this the case? I've said this on many occasions that, well, black people are raised to do so. You know, if you're a typical American black, you were pretty much raised and taught and brainwashed to believe that basically we Democrats good, Republicans bad. You know, Democrats care for the poor and the minorities. Republicans only care for the rich friends, which is nonsense. But is there a justification for black people to give such blind loyalty to the Democratic Party? Well, let's get into the brief history of the Republicans and Democrats. Now, I have my notes here. So I'm going to start with the Republican Party. Now, the Republican Party was founded in 1854, and it was founded in a schoolhouse building, one of those old schoolhouse buildings like you see on Little House on the Prairie in Ripon, Wisconsin. Now, they were founded on a platform of abolitionists. They wanted to abolish slavery, and that was the central main platform of the Republican Party as a party against slavery, right? Now, they were the party who pushed for the civil rights legislation. And when I say civil rights legislation, I mean the legislation that took place not only in the 60s, but as well as the 1950s and in the 1800s during the Reconstruction period. You know, Reconstruction was from 1865 to 1877 after the Civil War ended. So it was the Republican Party who pushed and fought against slavery and pushed for civil rights for black people. Now, it was also the Republican Party that fought against segregation, that fought against Jim Crow, right? And it was also the party that basically, you know, was a Republican-controlled Congress that really passed the 13th Amendment that ended slavery. It was Republicans who did this, okay? Now, the very first minorities and females that served in Congress or served in a lot of governor positions were Republicans, right? The first black person, the black governor, and the guy's name was Pigney Pitchback. He was a black man, right? The very first woman to serve in Congress, Janet Rankin, was a Republican, right? The very first Hispanic senator, and his name was Octaviano Larazulu, again, a Republican. First Asian senator, Haram Fong, was a Republican. So apparently, minorities knew something was up with the Republican Party because, well, they were all Republicans, just like black people. And the majority of black people were Republican until, like, in the 1930s, it started changing. But black people prior to that were Republican, majority just where black people are Democrat today. Well, because they knew the real history of the Republican Party. Now, let's look at the Democrats, right? Now, the Democratic Party was founded in 1828, and it was originally the Federalist Party, and which morphed into the Democratic Party. Now, the Democratic Party didn't necessarily fight for slavery, but they basically didn't fight against it either, like the Republicans fought against it. They were mostly on the side of slavery, but you can't say that they fought hard for it, right? Now, the Democratic Party was the party of Jim Crow, the party of segregation, the party of the Ku Klux Klan, and as all this is historically true. You know, they were also the party of the Southern Dixiecrats. You know, people always talk about how, you know, that idea, notion of the racist South, which doesn't exist anymore. But when the South was racist, it was full of Dixiecrats. And Dixiecrat come from Dixie, so the Dixie South, and Democrats. They were all Democrats, right? the Democratic Party was also the party of the New Deal. Now, the New Deal, which was basically in the 1930s, and this was at the point when black people originally started transferring to the Democratic Party from the Republicans for the free stuff. So the New Deal was the original start of the destruction of the black family, and then the Great Society was the death knell in the black family. As you can see, after the Great Society, you see this degradation of the black family and how the black family started to fall to what you see today with all this high rates of out of wedlock birth rates, high crime rates didn't exist prior to that. It was the Great Society that pretty much was a death knell, and this was put forward by L.B. Johnson, who a Democratic president, who took over after Kennedy was assassinated, right? And he was the one who said, and I quote, passing these laws and I will have niggas voting Democrats for the next 200 years. And he didn't say the N-word, he said nigga, so we might as well go ahead and say it, right? And also, Senator George Wallace, we all know George Wallace is, right? He's a famous senator who said, segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. He was a Democrat. So, this is the history of the Republicans and the Democrats. And in my next video, I'm going to deal with the common excuse that race hustlers use to try to excuse this away, that being the big switch, right? This like the reason why race hustlers do this is because, again, as I've said, it's their job. They profit from race hustling. They profit from race. So they have to keep hyping it up. And if people start to learn the truth, they know that black folks will wisen up. So they have to keep black people stupid. These people are the real coons. But anyway, y'all look out. That video is going to be coming right up. So pay attention to that. Anyway, this is a brief history of the Republicans and the Democrats. And it's proof that the Republican Party is on the side of black people and has always been on the side of black people, and the Democrats have always been against us and even against us today because we got off the cotton field plantation, and now they want black people on the Democratic plantation. Anyway, if you ever hear any nonsense of Republicans or Democrats, if you're confused about the history, well, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. And keep in mind that this is a extremely brief history of the Republicans and the Democrats. Trust me, there's a lot more. But anyway, y'all, and as always, until next time.